Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Do you ever feel just kind of stuck? You've got so many things going on that you actually just sit there not doing anything because you just can't prioritize. You're thinking, I got so many things to do. I'm just not sure where to start. What if I work on one before the other and that one's less important? Well, if you ever feel like you're just kind of stuck, I want to share a prioritization framework with you that I find super useful. And so this prioritization framework is called the Eisenhower Box. It's also sometimes called the urgent important matrix. And that makes sense because on the vertical, right, you see we have how important something is. And on the horizontal, we have how urgent that thing is. And so I want to talk you through these different, using this framework to help you prioritize, especially if you just feel like you've got too much on your plate. So let's start in that green box. We have things that are very important and they're very urgent. These are the things we should do first, right? That makes sense. That makes total sense. We got to do these things first. What do we do instead? A lot of other things, easy things, email, Slack, etc. We don't always go for the most important thing. We often just go for the thing that's right in front of us. We're not thinking so much about the importance, but really more the urgency of something. Now let's go down one box to where it says delegate. So these are things that are less important and they're still very urgent. If possible, you definitely want to delegate these things to someone else. If you can't delegate them to someone else, maybe you don't have anyone to delegate them to, then you just want to make sure that you do these things next after the things that were more important but still urgent. Now let's pop over to that red box. In that red box, it is don't do. These are things that are not important and they're not urgent. We're just not going to do them because they are not going to rise to the level where it makes sense. Now, do you get to just decide this in a vacuum, especially if it's for work or maybe it's for something, in your house with other people? No, we don't always get to decide in a vacuum, but I find that this is a really useful framework for sharing with other people. Maybe we're attached to an idea in a meeting and, it's a cool idea, but it is not important and it's not urgent. And we have, other things that we need to do. And we can use a framework like this to talk about it with other people. Now let's pop up to the yellow box that says schedule. So these things are really important and they're not urgent yet, right? This box is really tricky. This one is sometimes a trap because what we should do with things in this box are schedule them out over time, schedule the work that needs to be done so that we have time to do it and that we're not super stressed about it. What often happens is that even though these things are important, these things like planning or putting some work into memorize a talk you're going to give or something like that, these things are important, but we don't feel that time pressure yet, and so we push them off. Right? We procrastinate, we kind of ignore them, and then what happens is they pop right over into the green box. Right now, there's something that is urgent because we kind of wasted all this time in the run up by not working on them, right? So now they are urgent and they're still really important. And now they're kind of kicking everything else out of the way. So that is a tricky box. But what I would urge you to do is think about your future self. For the important things that are not yet urgent, think about your future self and what your future self will have wanted you to do. Now, sometimes when I'm talking to clients or when I'm doing a workshop, people will say, well, everything on my list is in this green box. Everything is in this do first. It's important and it's urgent. And it can feel like that. And maybe it's even true, right? But what do we do if that's the case? So if that's the case, I have a little technique that I just call flip it. And this is to ask yourself, if everything on my list is falling into that urgent and important bucket, if I had to drop one thing, right? I just had to. What would it be, right? What would it be? And then if I had to drop another thing, what would it be? And if I had to drop another thing, what would it be? And in doing this in kind of the reverse order, we are eventually going to arrive at the thing that is the most important or the most urgent, right? And so I want you to use this framework and see if it can help you to be able to kind of move forward when things start to get a little fuzzy, right? When you're not sure where to go, there's too many things on your plate. We're not going to do it all. We've got to prioritize. We've got to figure out a way. And this is one of the ways. This Eisenhower box is one of the ways to make it happen.
Hey guys, it's the video editor here. Just want to quickly say to drop a like and subscribe. As you can see, 87.6% of the people that watch our videos aren't subscribed. So please just subscribe. And I know you don't really think about it that much, but just please. subscribe.